Good Job, Jelly Bean by Amye Rosenberg. Poor Rosie the Easter Bunny. Right in the middle of delivering Easter baskets, she bruised her toe and had to hop home. She did not know how the rest of the Easter treats would get delivered. She called to her son, "Jelly Bean, where are you?" Jelly Bean came rushing into the garden. His hat was missing and his coat was torn. "Have you been fighting again?" asked Rosie. Jelly Bean hung his ears. "You'd fight too if other kids called you Eeny, Weeny, Jelly Beany. Why did you give me a name like Jelly Bean?" Rosie laughed. "Because you were so small and sweet when you were a baby." Jelly Bean frowned. "I'm not a baby any more. I want a grown-up name. Then I wouldn't get into fights." "I'll tell you what," said Rosie. "If you can finish my Easter deliveries without any mishaps, you may choose any name you want. Being a good Easter bunny is hard work. If you can do the job, then you will have a grown-up name." Jelly Bean was so excited that he set off right away. His first stop was the sparrow's nest. "Hello," he called up to them. "Happy Easter." Mother Sparrow looked down. "Could you bring up our basket?" she chirped. "My babies have hatched, and I can't leave the nest till their father comes back." Jelly Bean looked at the tall tree. It was a long climb, but up he went with the Easter basket on his arm. By the time he reached the top, Jelly Bean felt dizzy. "You don't look very well," said Mother Sparrow. "Stay for lunch. I'll make you some nice bug soup and worm cakes." Jelly Bean turned gray. "No thanks," he said. "I've got a job to finish." Jelly Bean climbed all the way down. He felt even dizzier than before. Dizzy might be a good grown-up name, he thought. The next stop was the beaver's pond. "Hello, happy Easter," called Jelly Bean. The beavers hardly noticed him. They were so busy building a new home in the water. Whop, whop went their tails as they worked. Pa Beaver saw Jelly Bean. "Could you bring our basket out here?" he shouted. "We can't stop working. Not now." Jelly Bean did not want their Easter basket to get wet. He floated out to the beaver's lodge on a log. He carefully set the basket in a dry place. This time Pa Beaver did not see Jelly Bean. Whap, whap went his tail, and splash went Jelly Bean right into the pond. He swam to shore thinking, Whappier might be a good grown-up name. There was no time to dry off. The bears were waiting for their Easter basket. Jelly Bean had never seen a real bear. He had only seen pictures of them in books. He eagerly approached their cave. "Hello, happy Easter," he called into the deep, dark cave. "Come in," replied the growly voice. Jelly Bean stepped inside. He could not see a thing. He walked in the dark, going deeper into the cave. Suddenly, around a bend, he came upon the bears. They were enormous, not like the tiny pictures in books. "Hi, do you want to stay for a bite?" they asked. "A bite? Yikes!" shouted Jelly Bean. He left their basket and fled as fast as he could. "Scared of bears is probably the best name for me," thought Jelly Bean. He rushed down the path to the muddy swamp where the frog family lived. "Hello, happy Easter," called Jelly Bean. "You're not the regular Easter bunny," said the first frog child. "The regular Easter bunny can hop over the mud," said the second. "Without dropping a single candy egg," added the third. Jelly Bean looked at the mud. He looked at the frog children. He got a good running start and sprang mightily over the mud. He made a perfect landing smack in the middle of a lily pad without dropping a single candy egg. "Hooray for the Easter bunny!" cheered the frog family. Jelly Bean was very pleased with himself. "Perhaps I should call myself Rocket Rabbit," he said. "But now I must be off." He leaped off the lily pad, but this time he didn't jump quite far enough. Splat went Jelly Bean into the muddy swamp. Jelly Bean squished to the hedgehog's house. "Hello, happy Easter," he called. "Why, it's a chocolate bunny!" exclaimed Mr. Hedgehog. "It smells more like a bunny covered with swamp mud to me," said Mrs. Hedgehog, sniffing. She turned the garden hose on Jelly Bean and washed the mud away. "Stay a while and I'll dry your clothes," said Mrs. Hedgehog. "It's getting late and I must go," said Jelly Bean. "I promised my mom I would finish the Easter deliveries, and she promised I could choose a new name. Maybe I'll call myself Swamp Thing." "Let me give you a lift," said Mr. Hedgehog. "You'll get home much faster." He heaved Jelly Bean onto his back and set off, but Mr. Hedgehog's sharp spines pricked and poked and jabbed Jelly Bean all over. Poor Jelly Bean felt like a live pincushion. "Thank you," said Jelly Bean, wincing, "but I can walk home from here. It isn't far at all." But it was far. Jelly Bean walked for a long, long time. Mom was right, he thought. Being an Easter bunny is hard work. Easter bunnies must climb trees and get dizzy. They have to float on logs and get whapped into beaver ponds. They have to go into dark caves and get scared by bears. They have to hop over muddy swamps and get hosed and prickled and poked. Then they must walk home on tired feet. When Jelly Bean finally reached home, Rosie greeted him. "Good job, Jelly Bean. I'm proud of you," she said. "What shall I call you now that you are so grown up?" Jelly Bean just shrugged. He was too tired, too sore, and too hungry to think about a grown-up name just now. "Come with me," said Rosie with a chuckle. "You'll feel better after a nice bath." Jelly Bean was glad to take off his dirty clothes and follow Rosie into the bathroom. She pushed open the door. "Surprise!" she shouted. "Happy Easter!" Jelly Bean could not believe his eyes. The bathtub was filled to the brim with his favorite Easter treat, jelly beans. There were hundreds of them, yellow ones, red ones, green ones, and orange ones. There were even pink ones and purple ones. The little Easter bunny laughed with glee and dived into the tub of jelly beans. He scooped them up and laughed. He spilled them through his paws. Then he ate them by the fistful. Jelly Bean felt much better now. He knew that he had done a good job. He knew that he was grown up. He knew that his fighting days were over. But more importantly, he knew for sure what his true name should be. "Jelly Bean is the right name for me," he told Rosie. "From where I sit, it's just perfect." Thanks for listening to Good Job, Jelly Bean. Please like this book, and Happy Easter!